Hello everyone, today we're going to be going over the topic of groups involved in setting accounting standards. So the three main groups involved in setting accounting standards in the United States are first, the Securities and Exchange Commission, the Securities and Exchange Commission, which is the SEC. Second, we have the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. And this is the AICPA. And then finally, we have the Financial Accounting Standards Board. Financial Accounting Standards Board, and this is also known as the FASB. Okay, so those are our three main groups that are involved in setting accounting standards in the United States. Just an overview. Now we're going to dive into more specifics about each one of these groups. Okay, the first one up is the Securities and Exchange Commission. So again, Securities and Exchange Commission, also known as the SEC. So this is the group charged with the responsibility of creating financial accounting standards. Okay, so basically what happened with the SEC was that the federal government created this organization, the SEC, through the Securities Exchange Act of 1934. And the federal government said, you're going to go ahead and create financial accounting standards. All right, and so the SEC, they oversee accounting practices of companies that are publicly traded, meaning companies that anybody can just go and buy the stock of. Okay, they're held by the public, the stock of the company, and these companies that are that the SEC oversees, they have to file documents with the SEC. Okay, now the SEC has delegated its power to make accounting standards to the private sector, namely to the AICPA and mostly the FASB. Okay, and so what happens is that the SEC requires companies within its purview, basically these companies that they oversee, to use the standards set by the AICPA and the FASB. These are what we know as GAAP. Okay, these are the financial accounting standards, the generally accepted accounting principles, the GAAP. All right, and so basically the way that this works is that the FASB sets most standards nowadays, but the SEC, they still have the authority to make accounting standards, and they still exercise this authority from time to time. All right, so generally the FASB is setting most rules, but from time to time the SEC does step in and say, okay, we're going to make a rule in this specific area because for whatever reason, maybe they don't like the FASB rule or they don't think it's specific enough, but they go ahead and they make a rule from time to time for an accounting standard. Okay, that's everything for the FASB. Now we'll move on to the AICPA. So we have the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, the AICPA. And basically this is just the National Professional Association for Certified Public Accountants. All right. The AICPA created the Committee on Accounting Procedure, the AP. They also created the AP Accounting Board, and then they finally created the Financial Accounting Standards Board, the FASB, to make standards. Okay. And the CAPP, they made standards from 1930 until 1999. The APB made standards from 1959 until 1973. And then from now on, it doesn't say it, but from now on, from 1973, basically from then on, the FASB is the one that makes the accounting standards. All right. And so, as you can kind of see here, the CAP and the APB combined only had about a 34-year run, not really all that long. And the reason for that is because these organizations encountered numerous issues when they were formed and when they were actually operating, such as firms who didn't like their accounting standards that were created by the APB and the CAP. And so some of these firms, they just literally just defied these groups and they just didn't follow the standards. Also, there were too many members in these groups. The members were only being paid part-time, and then the members also did not get paid. And so obviously you can kind of see why that would cause problems. Okay, so that's everything for the AICPA. Now, finally, we're going to move on to the FASB, the Financial Accounting Standards Board. So let's go ahead and get that down here. Financial Accounting Standards Board, the FASB. All right. And so basically what the FASB does is that they are the group that is currently responsible for setting accounting standards in the United States. Okay, we kind of talked about that before, but the FASB is basically the one, as of right now, that sets pretty much all accounting standards in the U.S., okay? The FASB has two other major groups in its overall organizational structure. The first one is called the Financial Accounting Foundation, the FAF, Financial Accounting Foundation. And basically, what this organization does is that they select the members of the FASB, they fund the operations of the FASB, and oversee the work of the FAF does. And then the other group that we have here is the Financial Accounting Standards Advisory Council. Standards Advisory Council. And this is FASAC. Okay. And so basically what this group does is that they help the FASB to set standards by helping the FASB to do some research, and they also provide consulting services to the FASB. Okay. And then there's one other subgroup that exists within the overall organizational structure, and that is called the Emerging Issues Task Force. Okay, the Emerging Issues Task Force, the EITF. Okay, and basically that is a group that helps the FASB set standards for very specific issues that don't affect a wide range of companies. Okay, so if there's just a specific issue and the FASB doesn't have time, right? The FASB does not have time to address this issue. The ETF will help the FASB to address these smaller issues that are more narrow in scope. Okay. And then finally, let's just go over why the FASB has been more successful. We kind of talked about the FASB has been going since 1973, which is a lot longer than either the APB or the CAP. And why is that the case? Okay, there's a couple reasons why it's been more successful. The first, that there's only 7 members in the FASB. There were about 18 to 21 in the CAP and the APB, and that caused problems because there were so many people there that you kind of had to have agreement among the members, and it was just difficult to reach a consensus. The other thing that's good about the FASB is that the members are full-time and they're compensated for their services. Like we talked about before, on the CAP and the APB, these members were part-time and they were not compensated, which means they were not nearly as committed, right? The FASB has greater autonomy to make decisions than the CAP or the APB. Additionally, FASB members are not allowed to work for private firms in addition to serving on the FASB, which was not true of the CAP and the APB. So that means FASB members are more independent because they don't also work for a private accounting firm or any other firm. They're just working for FASB, which means that they don't have other interests to serve, so they can be more independent. And then lastly, the FASB has broader representation of different professions than the CAP and the APB. So that's going to wrap up this lesson. Hope that was helpful.